I knew something was wrong the moment my mother smiled before speaking. It was Sunday evening, and we were sitting around my parents' dining table, the same table where we'd celebrated birthdays, graduations, and every family holiday since I was a child. My father was carving the roast. My mother was pouring drinks. My younger sister Chloe sat across from me, scrolling through her phone. Everything looked normal. Then Mom placed her glass down and said casually, "We added your sister to your $145,000 account." I thought I'd heard her wrong. I stared at her. "My what?" Mom smiled as if she'd just announced something wonderful. "Your savings account. The one you opened after Grandma left you the inheritance." My fork stopped halfway to my mouth. I slowly put it down. "Why would you add Chloe to my account?" My father shrugged. "She's family." I looked at Chloe. She immediately stopped scrolling. "What?" I stared at her. "Did you know about this?" Chloe's face went pale. "No." Mom sighed. "Don't make this dramatic." "I'm not making anything dramatic. I'm asking why my sister has access to my money." Mom waved her hand dismissively. "Because Chloe needs help." Chloe looked uncomfortable. "I didn't ask for it." Dad interrupted. "You don't have to ask. We're your parents." I looked at him. "My account isn't your account." His expression hardened. "We're talking about family." I took a slow breath. That $145,000 wasn't simply money sitting around. It was my security. I had spent years building it. After Grandma died, she left me $70,000. Instead of spending it, I invested most of it and kept the rest in savings. Then I added to it every month. I worked overtime. I skipped vacations. I drove the same 10-year-old car. I packed lunch instead of eating out. Every time someone told me I was being too careful with money, I reminded myself why. My daughter, Emma, was growing up. I wanted to buy a home. I wanted to pay for her education. I wanted enough money that one emergency wouldn't destroy us. My parents knew every part of that story. That's why their announcement felt like a slap. "Mom," I said carefully, "you can't just add someone to my bank account." She frowned. "We already did." My heart started pounding. "What do you mean, you already did?" Dad leaned back. "Your mother handled it." "How?" "She called the bank." I stared at him. "You called my bank?" Mom sighed. "They know us." "That doesn't answer my question." "We explained that Chloe is family." I almost laughed. "That's not how banking works." Mom's expression changed. "You've become so suspicious." "No. I'm being careful. Your sister is struggling." I looked at Chloe. She looked down. "What exactly does she need?" Mom answered immediately. "She needs a place to stay. She has debts. She needs a fresh start." I looked at Chloe. "Is that true?" Chloe hesitated. "I do have debts." "How much?" She shook her head. "I don't know." That answer made my stomach tighten. "What do you mean you don't know?" She looked embarrassed. "Mom and Dad have been helping me." I looked at my parents. "With what?" Neither answered. Suddenly, the entire conversation felt different. This wasn't about Chloe needing a little financial help. Something bigger was happening. I reached for my phone. Mom immediately said, "Don't." I looked at her. "Why?" "Because you're going to turn this into a huge issue. I want to check my account." "You can do it tomorrow." "Why tomorrow?" Dad interrupted. "Because we're having dinner." I stood. "I'll check it now." I opened my banking app. The screen loaded, then froze. I tried again. Nothing. I switched to mobile data. Still nothing. I looked at my mother. "Did you change something?" "No." I tried the bank website. It said my login credentials were invalid. My stomach dropped. I had used the same password for years. I knew it was correct. I tried the recovery option. The security questions had been changed. Then a notification appeared. "Your account information has recently been updated." I stared at the screen. "Mom." "What? What exactly did you change?" She looked away. "I don't know what you're talking about." I pushed my chair back. "I'm going to the bank." Mom stood. "Tonight?" "Yes." "It's Sunday." "I know. The branch is closed." "I'll call them." Dad shook his head. "You're being ridiculous." I looked directly at him. "Someone changed my banking information without my permission. Your mother was trying to help." "Then she can explain exactly what she changed." Nobody answered. I picked up my coat. As I walked toward the door, Chloe followed me. "Wait." I turned. She looked terrified. "I swear I didn't ask them to do this." "I believe you." She looked relieved. Then she whispered, "I didn't even know you had that much money." I stared at her. "What?" "Mom told me you had savings, but I didn't know how much." "Did she tell you why she wanted to add you?" Chloe shook her head. "She said it was so I could use it temporarily." My blood went cold. Temporarily? She said you'd never notice. I stared at her. What? Chloe covered her mouth. I shouldn't have said that. No. Tell me exactly what she said. Chloe started crying. She said you had enough money that losing a little wouldn't matter. I looked back toward my mother. She stood motionless in the dining room. Mom. She didn't answer. That was when I knew. This wasn't a misunderstanding. She had planned something. I left. I drove straight to the bank's emergency support line. After several transfers, I finally reached a fraud specialist. I explained everything. The representative asked for my identification details. Then she went silent. Ma'am. Yes. There's been unusual activity on your account. My hands tightened around the steering wheel. What kind of activity? There's an additional authorized user. Who? She paused. Chloe Bennett. My sister's name. I closed my eyes. When was she added? Yesterday. Who authorized it? We're still reviewing the request. Can she withdraw money? Another pause. Yes. My heart began racing. Freeze the account. We can place a temporary hold. Do it. There's something else. What? There was an attempted transfer. I felt the air leave my lungs. How much? $25,000. To whom? The representative gave me the name of a company I'd never heard of. I pulled my car into a parking lot. My hands were shaking. Did the transfer go through? No. I exhaled. Why not? It was flagged. Who attempted it? The representative hesitated. The request came through the newly authorized user. I stared through the windshield. Chloe. But Chloe had been sitting at the dinner table with me. She had no idea what was happening, which meant someone else had access. I called her immediately. She answered on the first ring. Are you at the bank? Yes. Her voice trembled. What happened? Did you attempt to transfer $25,000? What? Answer me. No. I swear. I believed her. Then someone is using your access. Silence. Then Chloe whispered. I just remembered something. What? Mom asked me for my driver's license last week. My heart sank. Why? She said she needed it for paperwork. What paperwork? I don't know. Did you give it to her? Yes. I closed my eyes. Chloe, I'm sorry. This isn't your fault. But I gave her my ID. I looked down at the bank documents. Everything was beginning to connect. My mother hadn't simply added Chloe to my account. She had obtained Chloe's identification. She had used it to create access. And someone had already tried to move $25,000. I called the fraud specialist again. Freeze everything connected to my identity. Understood. Credit accounts too. We'll place a fraud alert. I ended the call. Then I sat there in silence. For years, I believed the hardest thing about having a difficult family was learning how to say no. I was wrong. The hardest part was realizing that some people didn't see your boundaries as boundaries. They saw them as obstacles. And my mother had just crossed the biggest one imaginable. I drove back to my parents' house. Mom opened the door. What are you doing back? I held up the bank documents. You have 10 seconds to explain. Her face changed. Dad appeared behind her. What happened? I placed the documents on the table. There was a $25,000 transfer attempt. Silence. Who was it going to? Neither of them answered. I looked at my mother. Why did you use Chloe's identity? Her face went pale. And in that moment, I realized something even worse. My $145,000 wasn't the only thing my parents had been hiding from me. My mother stared at the documents as if they were written in a language she couldn't understand. Dad stood behind her, his face unusually pale. I pointed at the bank statement. Explained the $25,000. Mom swallowed. We were trying to help Chloe. No. I shook my head. Don't say that. It's true. You weren't helping Chloe. You were moving money from my account. Dad stepped forward. Lower your voice. My voice isn't the problem. I pointed at the papers. This is... Mom looked at me. You have enough money. I couldn't believe those words. Enough. She nodded. You have $145,000 sitting there. That's my money. You're not using it. That's not your decision. You don't understand what your sister is going through. I looked toward Chloe. She had arrived behind me. She didn't ask for this. Mom's expression hardened. She wouldn't ask because she's too proud. Chloe started crying. Mom, stop. Mom turned toward her. We did this for you. No, you didn't. The room went silent. Chloe wiped her eyes. You did it because you were afraid of your own debts. Dad snapped. Don't talk to your mother like that. Chloe looked at him. Then tell me the truth. Dad said nothing. I looked between them. What debts? Mom's eyes filled with tears. Your father made some mistakes. I stared at Dad. What kind of mistakes? He lowered his head. Business. What business? Investments. How much? He didn't answer. I turned toward Mom. How much? She whispered. More than we can handle. My stomach dropped. How much? Dad finally spoke. Almost 90,000. I stepped backward. You're $90,000 in debt. He nodded. And you thought my savings would fix it? No. Mom's voice broke. We thought family should help family. I laughed bitterly. Family doesn't steal. We weren't stealing. You changed my banking information. We were going to put it back. You tried to transfer $25,000. We needed time. I looked at Chloe. She was shaking. Did you know about Dad's debt? She shook her head. No. I believed her. My parents had used both of us. They had told Chloe they were helping her. They had told me they were helping Chloe. But the truth was that they were trying to rescue themselves. I picked up the bank papers. Who was the $25,000 going to? Dad looked away. One of the creditors. So you used Chloe's identity to pay your debt. Nobody spoke. That silence was confirmation enough. I called the bank's fraud department from the kitchen. The investigator asked me to explain everything. I gave them the timeline. When my mother had asked Chloe for her ID. When the new account authorization appeared. When the $25,000 transfer was attempted. When my online banking credentials changed. The investigator told me to preserve every message and document. I did. Then she said something that changed everything. There's another issue. I froze. What? There's a credit line associated with your identity. My heart stopped. I don't have a credit line. Someone opened one recently. How much? $18,000 has already been used. I closed my eyes. For a moment, I couldn't speak. Then I whispered. Where? The investigator listed several purchases. Luxury electronics. Hotel